Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Legends of Tomorrow, episode 213, titled Land of the Lost, which premiered Tuesday, March 7, 2017 on the CW. So guys, huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, go do so first before you come back and check out what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, all my other video reminders are up on screen right now. Take a moment to remind yourselves of those. Otherwise, let's set the 10-minute clock and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So this episode sees us... timeline-wise, it's immediately after the previous episode. For a moment, we're lost in the time stream, and then at a time we're in Rip Hunter's mind, and then we're also all the way back in the Jurassic period, I think. Anyways, so with that said, episode reminder though, we see dinosaurs and we see a lot of mind jumping going on as well, which makes sense of it. Villain though is not only Rip Hunter but also the evil doppelgangers inside of his head, and I guess you can kind of count dinosaurs, but it's not like they're purposely being evil to them, so maybe not. But moving on to the breakdown of the episode though, two different storylines or two different objectives were going on. First one was finding a lost delineator, and the second was entering Rip Hunter's mind. So, with the first storyline, finding a lost delineator, it's a piece of the Wave Rider, and when they crashed in the Jurassic time period, it kind of got detached when it crash landed. So, because this is the same time period where Ray Palmer had spent 6 months of his time, essentially the time between season 1 and season 2, he offers to go and collect the missing device, and he takes Nathan and Amaya with him. So there's that. Second storyline deals with entering Rip Hunter's mind. So the purpose of entering Rip Hunter's mind is because they need to find the location of the last Spear of Destiny, which is in the hands of Nathan's grandfather, Commander Steele. And since Rip is the only one who knows where that location is, they're hoping that going into his head and extracting that information would be beneficial for them. But they also find out that if they can somehow get into his mind, they could somehow reverse evil Rip and turn him back into the captain that originally recruited them. So we see Sarah and Jax going into Rip's mind, but they come face to face with evil doppelgangers of the team, and we also see them meeting a human Gideon. So there's that. Status for both missions, success, 2 for 2 for them. So they found the missing piece, which allows them to fix the ship, and then they also restored Rip Hunter to his former Captain Glory. So there's that. Last moments of the episode did show Eobard Thawne in 1970, specifically at a NASA location. So there's that. So moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, I think it has to be the fact that in Rip's mind, he gives a human Gideon a kiss goodbye, and then later on the AI version of Gideon remembers it, and they both liked it. It's a little weird. It's a little shocking. I kind of figured that they'd have some sort of bond, Gideon and Rip. I just didn't think it extended further to what we saw today. So there's that. But it did raise a question, though, for me about Gideon, which I'll get into later on, though. But moving on to my top 3 favorite moments. First one has to be the fact that Ray told Nathan about Amaya's destiny, including mentions of her granddaughter who becomes Vixen in their current time period of 2016-2017. I'm actually surprised that none of this came up before. I mean, with the rest of the team, they all came from the same time period, which is 2016-2017, our current time period for us. But Amaya is the only one who's come from the past. She's from 1942. So I guess it never occurred to me that maybe no one in the past told her about her future or how her own destiny has affected them in the future, because as we know, Oliver and Barry, they become friends with Vixen, who helps them deal with Damien Dark. Ray mentions something about having a connection with that Vixen. Don't remember it though. It could have been because Vixen's also storyline is delved out through an animation series, so there's that that they might be alluding to. But it never occurred to me that no one might have looked into what Amaya's future holds, because they technically already know. And then the fact that Nathan didn't know any of that was a little surprising. But I like the fact that Ray kind of explained it to Nathan and how Amaya is different. She's not like the other people on the ship, because with the other people on the ship, they're all from the same timeline. It's not going to matter. But with Amaya, she's not. She's from the past, a past that has a future set out for her that has made their present day team members, who they are because of it in some ways. So I just found that it was a continuing thing throughout the episode too. So I like it. And it was just great to see the two. They're usually at butting heads with each other with the whole mock sibling rivalry between each other. But it was great to see them talk about something like this, because I don't think it's been brought up before. Like something similar to that. Anyways, second favorite moment for me has to be all the doppelganger fights we got to see inside of Rip Hunter's head. We got to see Sarah not only taking on her evil self while her evil doppelganger is dressed in the white canary suit, but we got to see her fight against an evil Ray and an evil Mick as well. And then we also got to see Jax fighting off an evil Firestorm, who had a different fire color scheme than him, since Jax, without Professor Stein, didn't have powers in Rip's mind. So it was very interesting to see how not only the doppelganger fight specifically were, but just the whole fighting scene in general. It was great to see Sarah in action, putting her skills to great use in this example, and then to have just to see what the Legion of Doom twisted Rip's mind to perceive the team as, was essentially it. Third favorite moment I had for the episode was the fact that Rip Hunter has now returned to the team. He's officially the good Rip again. He remembers everything, his time as the film student, his time with the Legion of Doom, all of it. He remembers all of it. And it was just great. What I really liked specifically was the scenes where he's welcomed back by the team. He's wearing his captain, or his iconic captain suit, and how by one he makes a bit of small talk with each member of the team in some way, shape, or form, them welcoming him back. Sarah calls him uncharacteristically polite. But I really liked that moment. They definitely needed that moment. When it first started out, I thought it was just going to be a montage of Rip hugging or shaking hands with his team members, and that was it. We weren't going to get any sound to it. It may be a good soundtrack to it, but no audio. But the fact that we got to hear what each of them said to him and his response to them, I liked it. I definitely liked it. It's definitely up there in my favorites for sure. And it was just great to see all of them back together as a team, especially since that's the first time it's happening this season for us, which is, I guess, more than 6 months for everyone. And he's the one who pretty much, he saved them all by scattering them throughout time. But this is also the first time Nathan and Amaya get to actually meet the real Rip Hunter. So that was interesting in itself. Moving on, though, to top 3 peeve moments. I don't really have any peeves. I don't really remember anything specifically that I had an issue with. So I'll just leave it at that. But what will I remember most when I look back on this episode? The fact that Rip's return is a huge one, and the fact that we got to see all these doppelgangers as well. Moving on to random questions. First off, I just remembered. This one isn't a random question, but it's a comment off of my favorite moments. A bonus one was the fact that when Amaya was channeling the T-Rex when dealing with Gertrude, it showed her eyes being a different, like a really, really cool, different shade of gold or something like that. Anyways, I just wanted to comment on it because that was so cool. Obviously, it matches the T-Rex Gertrude's eyes, but just on Amaya and just the glow of it, that was beautiful. Beautiful. I just had to comment on that, though. So there's that. So actual questions, though. First one was, could Gideon's human form be who the AI was based off of? I'm thinking of it like, you know how on the TV show The 100, spoiler alert for that, though, but there's this AI by the name of Allie who takes on a human form, like a holographic human form, but it's in the form of her creator, Becca. So I'm wondering if this is kind of the same thing with Allie. Obviously, the voice of Gideon in Rip's head is the same voice that we hear as Gideon on the Wave Rider. So I'm wondering if perhaps the Gideon that we see in Rip's head, the female version of her, is the original Gideon, and then she somehow supplied her voice to bring AI Gideon to life, if that makes sense. I'm wondering. And it was so weird hearing Gideon's voice, where we always been hearing as the AI coming out of a human, like a human mouthpiece, even though obviously that's originally the case, but we don't see it, we just hear it a lot of the times. But to actually see it and hear it at the same time, it needs some getting used to, for sure. Next question, though. Was this the first time that Nathan has heard of Amaya's granddaughter from the 2016-2017 time frame, let alone the granddaughter being Vixen in their time period? I find that kind of odd if it is the first time he's heard of it, because as the historian, and how in the season premiere where he went to Oliver Queen and showed him all these historical pieces about the team and how he knew every member of the team, and he knew that Oliver was the Green Arrow. So it's just like, I would think that Nathan would have put together all the at least a few members of famous vigilantes that have come out and made the public aware of them. So I can understand why Vixen, present day Vixen, might not have caught onto Nathan's radar, only because she's in another city. But I don't think Nathan resides in Star City. I don't think. Did he ever say where he came from? I don't know, but that's my last question for that. Moving on to the predictions, though. Based off the promo for 214, it looks like we're going to see an Apollo 13 launch. Looks like Eobard Thawne is involved as well, and we're going to see Commander Steel again. And based off the synopsis for the episode, it gives a lot more than that. It says that when the Legends track Commander Steel to NASA headquarters in 1970, they learn where Nate's grandfather hid the last fragment of the Spear of Destiny. The team notices a time aberration during the Apollo 13 launch and believes that the Legion of Doom might be involved. As the Legends journey into space to intercept Apollo 13, the Wave Rider suffers massive internal damage and Ray's life is left in jeopardy when he is stranded on the moon. Meanwhile, tension grows between Rip and Sarah as to who is the leader of the team. Stein, Jax, Amaya, and Mick are also set to appear. Here's a new question, though, for you guys. So far, we haven't seen any changes with Nathan, but I'm wondering if that's because after everything Commander Steel has done with the whole protecting the spear and traveling to a different time period and everything, shouldn't all of that have affected Nathan, the way Nathan's life turned out, or his existence turned out, or was his grandfather traveling to 1970 to protect the spear was always in the cards, I guess you could say, for Nathan's existence. So that has me a little confused. But once again, as you know, time travel confuses the hell out of me when trying to think of how it affects the past with the present, especially with our certain characters who are always changing. It's just, my head hurts so much right now. But that's about it. So also, guys, there's only 17 episodes of the season, so we're quickly coming to a close for that. But what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear all your thoughts, theories, opinions about that. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. So go check it out. Link is down below. It's also connected to my WordPress account, which is connected to everything else I post online. The link for WordPress is down below. It's a work in progress, but it's more organized of all the sites. So go check that out and follow me there if you like as well. And I believe that's about it, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you come back next week to hear what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.